Okay, it looks like I am live. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. What day is it? I forget. March 27th at about 10 a.m. here in Zhongshan, China, and lots to talk about. Thank you, everybody, for watching my latest videos. I've had a lot of fun putting them together, and I'm looking forward to having a discussion with you. Now, I am doing a live stream from mainland China, which means that the connection might not be stable. I woke up this morning and the connection seemed to be pretty good, so I decided, okay, let's put the live stream together. But if for some reason it doesn't, um, or for some reason it cuts out, uh, just hang in there with me. It'll come back. Good morning, Nicholas. Thank you for joining me, sir. Um, thank you for your support over the last couple of weeks too. I appreciate that, man. So let's start with a quick update about me. Uh, I Status quo for me here at the college. There are no classes going on except online. There are no students, and here at the college, there's no faculty minus there, but there is one teacher that moved in above me. I believe he's a math teacher. He's here with his two little boys, and they are, for the most part, very well behaved young men, but they are young men, and so they can be a little loud. The other morning, one of them got a hold of a whistle and wouldn't stop blowing the damn whistle as they were playing around in the apartment. So, uh, but for the most part, they are very well behaved, and that's it. I mean, I have seen uh, some students at the front gate coming onto the campus lately. Every day, the security gears up for them, and the students are coming. And originally, I thought, oh, the students are coming back to class, and that's not the case. The students are getting special permission to come onto the campus. They are being escorted up to their dorm rooms, and they are removing their personal items. So there's no official confirmation from the administration as far as when school will start or if they will start at all, but they are coming and getting their personal items, and so that tells me that they're probably not going to start the classes this term. I have taught with or spoken with other uh, teachers here in my city who are teaching online, and also some public school teachers, local teachers, and they kind of have the same feeling. But again, there's no official start date, and we'll talk about that coming up here. I got an article to show you. The entire province of Guangdong has been lowered to a low threat level. They had high. There was nothing in high. Medium, which was a few districts here in Zhongshan and a couple other random places throughout Guangdong, and then they had low, which was the majority of Guangdong, which meant it's almost business as usual. It's low. It's not no threat. It's just low. Uh, but a couple days ago, they lowered the threat level to low here in Zhongshan. So the entire city is on a low threat level, which means nobody is on anymore. Nobody's on any kind of restrictions from going outside their house any longer, with the exception of me. Only because I live on a college campus. So because it's a school, it's got different rules in play, and I'm fine with that. I can leave once a day. I don't leave every day, so it works for me. But my good buddy, who had been on those restrictions for a couple of months now, finally has been released. And it's funny. He said he doesn't want to leave. He's gotten so used to staying home now he doesn't want to go out. So, uh, yes, the cats are still doing well. They finally took out the garbage. I didn't take any video because it's so disgusting, but there's one centrally located garbage collection here on the campus. And because there's no garbage collection at my building, I had to go down there every couple of days and throw my garbage out. And I saw the cats rummaging through there and eating really old, nasty stuff. And unfortunately, many of them were getting sick. They finally took that out and cleaned it all up. So, and the cats have been coming around my building a lot more lately looking for some food. And they actually discovered my front door. So one of the little kittens, clever little guy, followed me up the stairs and saw which door I go in. And so each morning you can hear him meow. It's my microphone. I got to talk into the microphone like this. uh, so that's for me. The cats again, there seems to be two separate types of cats. If you're interested in the cats on my campus, there's two sets. There's the family of cats that you see in my around my building. That it's the one male, it's two females, and a couple of kittens, and they're the ones that seem to be very healthy and they're very friendly and they seem to like me. And then there's another set of cats that have a complete, they're like a golden color, and they are sickly looking and they are mean and they don't get along with this family over here. They kind of hang out around the peripherals when I'm around, but they don't come begging me for food. And unfortunately, I think those cats are not doing too well. I still have my puppy dog friend. She, every time I go out, she follows me down to my car. So, Nicholas asks, so what's happens about you? Are they going to ask you to leave? No, they won't ask me to leave. They want me to stay. And they've been very open about that. They've been very thankful, actually. That my direct contact, the person I work with, is actually out of work because she's having a baby. So congratulations to her. And they've hired someone new who I actually haven't met in person yet. We've just talked on WeChat. A young lady who will be my direct point of contact so that I don't have to go directly to the director of foreign affairs or the president of the college anymore. There's an intermediary. And, excuse me, she has been assigned the task of renewing my work visa and residence permit for the coming year, which if you live in China, you know that that's not a cut and dry thing. It can be, and every year the rules change. So the people who do this for employees at different companies really jump through a lot of hoops every year. This will be her first time, so I anticipate there being some stumbling along the way, but we'll get through it. We're going to talk about that here in a second, Nicholas, as far as what's going on with entry and exit. Out in the town, the situation remains the same as it was last week. Many restaurants, which I like. You guys know I loved going out to restaurants, and so it's a big part of my social life here, and my daily life is eating out. I love the food here. Yesterday I went to one of my favorite salad places called Yo Salad, and they hadn't changed the name. We walked in, and they said they don't have any more salads, and they've changed it to Yo Kitchen, and it's all Chinese food. So I was really upset about that. So we got up and walked out. You know, the food just looked a little too greasy for my taste. And then at night I went to Solo Cafe, which is a great little cafe. Got a nice little tea and some all-day breakfast. But when you go into a restaurant here, you still have your temperature taken. You have to write down your name, your phone number, and some restaurants are even requiring you to have the little app, which I've been trying for weeks now to get to work, and it still doesn't work for me. I don't know why it doesn't work for me. I've heard that some foreigners are able to get it done. I can't seem to get it done. And you need this app to go into parks, to go into some businesses, and yeah. But I was able to go to a coffee shop. The last video I edited, which was the trail running one, I got to spend about 4 or 5 hours at my favorite coffee shop, editing that, drinking coffee, and just enjoying an afternoon working in a coffee shop as if the coronavirus was gone. Now, to get in there, I still had to take my temperature, write my name down, and I had to wear a mask. But when I'm drinking my coffee, obviously, I wasn't wearing a mask. And, of course, they make you put on the hand sanitizer thing. And that's everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, they're going to take your temperature still. There are still roadblocks everywhere to go into the neighborhoods. They still have controlled entry at most businesses, every mall, every parking structure, and all the neighborhoods have controlled entry as well. Now, that's not the apartment communities. This is just like little roads that you see going into certain neighborhoods. There'll be some volunteers out there taking temperatures and asking you where you want to go. In addition, yesterday, good news is I went and had a workout at a gym. Now, many gyms are still closed. Some are starting to open up. They told me that I need to have permission to go into mine. It's like by appointment only. And I talked with some other people and they said, no, you can walk right in. And then someone mentioned, oh, it's because you're a foreigner. They want, they don't want you just walking in. You have to have an appointment to go and exercise because people are still a little uneasy about foreigners. That's what some people have told me. I don't know if that's an official policy or not. But just talking with the trainers on WeChat, they have all told me that if I want to go work out at my gym, I need to make an appointment 24 hours in advance, which is kind of lame, I think. So I have another buddy of mine who's a trainer at a different gym, a smaller gym, and he said, why don't you come work out over at our place? And it was great. I hadn't been to a gym in 2 months, and I love exercising. So I spent 2 hours in there. I still had a temperature check, write my name down, the typical stuff. I had to wear a mask in there. Everyone was wearing a mask, but the only people that were in there were the actual employees. I mean, I was the only guest in there from what I could see. But it's just another sign that things are slowly starting to open up little by little. I read somewhere that there are now 500 movie theaters in the whole country of China that have reopened, which is a good sign. But nobody's going. They've had very, very few ticket sales. Mostly, they said stuff like people are scared to go to the movies. I don't think that's the case. I think once the movie theaters open up here, everyone's going to go to the movies because they haven't been able to go. They're really excited. But there's no new movie releases. The movies they're showing in the theaters are like last year's hits, like Wandering Earth and stuff like that. So people aren't going to the movies for that. But here in Zhongshan, at least, the movie theaters are still closed. All of the training centers are still closed. All the KTVs. I did hear a rumor. Tyler, let me know if it's true that some bars are starting to open. It's a hit or miss. I'm told that so if the bar serves food, then you can go in and you can order food like at a restaurant. But as far as it being a night place or a bar, those are still closed. So if you go there for dinner, you can enjoy a beer and some dinner. I think that's the case, but again, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been out to a bar in a long time. Yeah, Nicholas, foreigners are now banned from entering China. That is true. Let me get to that in just a second. One more thing about the factories. The factories are open. Many of them are running, but my sources are telling me that there are very few orders coming in. So they're really struggling to project what the future is going to be. So some production lines are being planned to be stopped, which means you're going to have unemployment. Some production, depending on what they're producing, some are trying to gear up and looking for workers. So everyone's kind of moving around and seeing what's going to happen. The cards are still falling into place for that. I have a good friend who is a international salesperson at a factory here. She has had 0 orders since January, 0, and so that's taken a big hit on her income. So she has resorted to selling face masks. There seems to be now an abundance of face masks in China. Now I could be wrong. This is just my feeling because I see on WeChat posts and a lot of people trying to sell their stock of face masks, and they're not like selling it for a lot of money. There's no margins here. They're just trying to get rid of it, I guess. And even the college said, "Hey, we've got a lot of face masks. Do you need any?" And I said, "No, I've got plenty. You gave me a lot last time." And they said, "Okay, well, we've got a lot if you need them." So it seems like there seems to be very well stocked on this stuff here in China, at least. The parks are open and they are beautiful and it's wonderful to go. The hiking trails, the hiking trail you see me go to is not closed, but the ones here in the city seem to still be closed off. They have people stopping you from going there, going onto those trails. But there are so many utility access trails that are wide open that you can go to, and nobody's on the trail saying get off, go out. When I come down from the trail, there are like fire brigade people there, and they just kind of wave at you and say hello, and they're very friendly. I went to a forest park at a recommendation of a viewer out near Wuguishan 2 days ago, and it's a beautiful park. But to get into that park, they almost didn't let me in because you had to have that app, that red, green, yellow app. And I was standing there. We were trying to get it to work, We couldn't get it to work. And they were very strict on not letting me in. And finally, after trying to convince them that, I'm not a dangerous person, that I've been in China this whole time, they finally let me go in. So a little bit of finessing, a little bit of, you can't smile at them because you're wearing a mask. So you really have to, it's a hit or miss. So far, the only place I've been denied entry out of all the places has been Metro, the Metro supermarket. They would not let me go in, which was odd. But everywhere else, the malls, the restaurants that are requiring that little app, after showing them, hey, I tried, it doesn't work, and then my friend says, look, Paul's been here forever, then they finally just let me go. So it hasn't affected me too much. I was at the police station yesterday, and I was only there to support a friend who had to do some paperwork. I had no business there. I was her ride, and she needed to do some work at the police station, just ID work kind of stuff, nothing crazy. So we're standing in line, and in here to do this paperwork, you have to get there, a little bit early before the station opens up. They close for lunch, and they open again at 2. We got there at 1:30. We didn't get to the front of the line till about 3 p.m., so an hour and a half of waiting in the line. And then as we approached the front of the line, an officer popped his head out of the window and saw me and said, you, go lai. No, I'm not coming in. It's okay. And he said some other things that I honestly didn't understand, but he eventually just asked me to leave. And I later found out it's because I'm a foreigner and he was scared of me. So here's a police officer all decked out, face mask, gloves, everything. I'm not talking like a little face mask. I'm talking one of the big, giant ones. And he says, you need to go over there. We don't want you here. And he wasn't rude about it. He seemed more fearful. And when he was saying this, all the people around me in the line, who were all really good-natured people, just broke out laughing and said, all right. I said, whatever, I'm a good-natured guy, and I just went over and waited on the side. But that'll give you an idea of how they're, when you're a foreigner and you have this face, you stick out in a crowd, especially in some of the smaller cities. And there is still some uneasiness when it comes to, because the news is filled with all these things, imported cases into China. And then they say, well, they say these 10 cases, 2 of them came from the UK, 1 of them came from Germany, 1 from the US, 2 of them from Africa. They stop telling you the surnames of the people or the nationality of the people. They just say that what country they are arriving from. And in reality, literally 90%, that's the math. 9 out of 10 of them are Chinese nationals returning home, 40% of which are students coming home. So that's the reality of the situation. And when you do come into Guangdong before yesterday, you were immediately sent to quarantine. So even with all of that, I still, everywhere I go, the security guards, the people always ask me, how long have you been here? Did you stay here? Did you leave China at any time? They're always asking me these questions because they're worried, they're scared. And I think they're scared on a blanket level, not just from foreigners coming in, but also Chinese people coming in. The difference is that, I'm easy to identify. So that's that. I'm going to hopefully, my buddies out there, let's get a dinner together maybe this weekend. Let's go have some dapaidong or something and have a few beers and have a few laughs. We haven't been all out together in a while. What do you say, guys? I hope we can do that. So that's what's going on here. The economy is struggling. If you go to the malls, the supermarkets are still open, of course. But you start to see, like I saw a jewelry store open here, a couple of clothing stores like Uniqlo is open. But then I went to one mall and all the restaurants are still closed. They're not open, and many of the clothing stores have not reopened. Phone stores are open, but there are no customers. I've never seen a single customer. I haven't seen a customer in a phone store in a few months now. So you go through these malls, it's literally the one or two employees you see playing on their phone the entire time because there's nobody to serve. Um, Now that's at Lihe Plaza, which is the center of the town. There are a lot more people shopping. It looks like I actually saw people in Xiaomi, you know, purchasing some things, which was a great thing. People are selling milk teas. Um, I didn't see anyone in the Nike store. There was nobody. There were a couple people in Uniqlo, but for the most part, people aren't shopping. People are not participating in the economy, with the exception of the few restaurants that are open. The restaurants that are open, there are people going more and more. I see, but they still separate the people quite a bit. I went to afternoon tea again a couple days ago, and the tables were really, really far apart. So they're still practicing social distancing. Everyone is still wearing masks, and there's soap and hand sanitizer everywhere. And they're pretty strict on entry and exit. To get into the restaurants, you still have to take the temperature, put your name down, your phone number, all that kind of stuff. But let's see. Let's go to some of these comments. Good to see that I'm still in good spirits, Mike. Yes, thank you. I feel better now that I have a little bit more freedom in my life, and that little by little things start to seem to get back to normal. There's still a lot of things that I cannot do that I wish I could. The movie, I love going to the movies, as you guys know, and I can't go to the movies, so we're just downloading movies and watching them at home. And that gets boring. I mean, I'll put on a movie now, and it's just like, it's hard for me to get through it. Let's see. Not just in China, lots of countries have been in place from international visitors. Yeah, I've heard that too. Masks, someone gave my wife 200 this week. See, that's the thing. Chuan, there's masks everywhere. There's an abundance of masks here. And if, there was an article where Jack Ma, he sent a ton of money and masks to America to help America fight it. If we weren't busy antagonizing China, I'm sure China would be very generous towards America and helping America fight this stuff, as they are with other countries right now. Some have also been told to the countries that may be in, I wouldn't be too fast to get rid of the masks. You never know, and I don't like thinking of that. Well, I'm well stocked. I mean, the production is still off the charts here. They really shifted a lot of the focus of the mass production, or production of garments, to mask production and other protective gear, gloves and hair nets and things like this. And the demand, I mean, everyone got them, and now they're still producing them, but we're not using them as much. I bought an N95 mask for $4 at Xiaolan, and that's the one I use, and it's a reusable one. So that's the one I've been using when I go out. I have those paper masks. I have a ton of those, but those are only good for maybe 20, 30 minutes. Then you got to throw them away. So I just reuse the N95, and they're everywhere. They're in all the supermarkets. You can find masks everywhere here. There's no shortage of them. You can go into any pharmacy and any supermarket, and you have a range of masks that you can use. Also, you can go buy a bandana, and put that around your face. I do that when I go to when I exercise. I use a bandana. Hey, too, a lot of contracts I have for different stuff have gone into selling face masks. I mean, lots of them. All of them are asking me if you want to. Yeah, they have a ton. And a lot of the people who are selling battery packs, they're selling cameras, they're selling aluminum, they're selling garments, whatever it is that the international sales force is doing here, they've turned to selling the protective gear, because there are no orders for the other stuff, and they still need to make a living. Well, they have all these masks, let's sell the masks. And the margins are very small. They're not making a lot of money doing it, and they're working really hard, but that's what they're resorting to do because there's no other business for them. Bloody autocorrect. No, not I have the TV on for the stream and typing on the phone. Love technology these days. Yeah, I do too, man. What's your opinion about Trump and Pompeo? Are they racist because of white supremacy or just pretending they're I have no idea. I don't think that they are necessarily I don't believe they believe they're racist. Um, I try not to think about it. I think they cater to white supremacy because it's a voting bloc and they need it. They're politicians. So half the stuff they say is BS anyways. A few weeks ago, you said nobody would eat in places a while due to being closed for a while. I said that be careful eating at places if it's like the first couple of days that they open because they're going to try and reuse old stock of food. And I saw that. I went to a Thai restaurant and it seemed like the food was just terrible. It just seemed like old food. And it made me feel a little sick, as well as my friend. So that's what I said. Okay, be careful because, they might have some condiments or stuff that have been sitting around for a couple months that they're using, or some spices, and you know, so be careful about that. But now things have been open for a couple weeks. The new foods are coming in, the shipments. If it's a popular restaurant, especially, then you're good to go. Trump is having a phone conversation with the president of China as we speak. Interesting. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. Okay, so let's go into a couple of the articles of what I want to talk about today. So let me switch this up. Boom, okay. Oh, the first one here. Foreigners are temporarily banned from entering China. This came out late last night. I was asleep. I woke up this morning and I got a ton of messages, and all the media outlets are reporting this. This particular one is from Waijiao. I think. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I apologize. But it's basically the same announcement from all the media sources. Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the People Republic of China National Immigration Administration announcement on the temporary suspension of entry in foreign nationals holding valid Chinese visas or residence permits, 3/26. So March 26. In view of the rapid spread of COVID-19 across the world, China has decided to temporarily suspend the entry into China by foreign nationals holding visas or residence permits still valid to the time of this announcement, effective at midnight, March 28th. I mentioned this a long time ago that China would close their borders, and if you had to come back to China, to come back then. And if you didn't, you would not be allowed back in the country, and it's happening now. So if you have a Z visa, any visa that was issued in the past, and this includes marriage visas, by the way, then you are not, that visa is now void, essentially. So if you want to come to China, you have to be reissued a new visa, and good luck getting that. Entry by foreign nationals with APEC business travel cards will be suspended as well. Policies including port visas, 24/72 and 144-hour visa-free transit policy. That's very popular here in Guangdong. People come from Hong Kong, want to go to Guangzhou. The Hainan 30-day visa-free policy, 15 visa-free policy specified for foreign cruise group tours through Shanghai port. The Guangdong 144-hour visa-free policy specified for foreign tour groups from Hong Kong or Macau, and Guangxi 15-day visa-free policy specified for foreign groups of ASEAN countries will also be temporarily suspended. Entry with diplomatic service, courtesy, or C visas will not be affected. So the C visa is the crew visa. That's your flight crews and port crews, things like that. Foreign nationals coming to China for necessary economic, trade, scientific, or technological activities, or out of emergency humanitarian needs, may apply for visas at Chinese embassies and consulates, meaning that you can still get a visa if you're coming for quote-unquote necessary economic, trade, scientific, or technological activities. That's very vague. What is deemed necessary, no one really knows. I was talking with a friend. He said, well, that means if you're have money. So if you're just wanting to come here as a tourist, or if you want to come here to work, those visas are now suspended, and they probably won't be issuing you new ones. So keep that in mind. China will stay in close touch with all sides and properly handle personal exchanges with the rest of the world under the special circumstances. The above-mentioned measures will be collaborated in light of the evolving situation and announced accordingly. I heard some people were reporting that this is a 2-month thing. I don't see that here. It's just temporary. How long this will last, I believe it'll last until the rest of the world eradicates the COVID-19 virus. So this could be 2 months. It could be a year. Nobody knows, because nobody knows what's going on with the rest of the world. So if you didn't come back to China, for the new term, or for to see your wife, you're not going to be allowed back in at all. They're suspending it. Now, if you're a Chinese national, of course you come back, but even Chinese nationals, when you come back, you are then required to go to a 14-day quarantine. They haven't stopped that yet. So that's still going on. And I know a couple of YouTubers out there that have come back in the last couple of days, and I'm sure they're happy that they're in quarantine. They made it under the deadline. But I also have been talking with a couple of teachers who've been living here, and they left China for the Spring Festival, and they stayed away during the outbreak here in China, and they were just waiting to come back for when work would resume, and now they cannot come back at all. And so they have apartments, they have things in their apartment, they have their whole lives. They have their laptops and clothes and different things. I have a teacher friend who left his bank card here, so he's not going to, even though he might get paid, he has no access to his funds. So it's going to be stuck in a Chinese account here, and he has no access to that money because he can't come back to China and get his bank card. Now, he might be able to get a bank card mailed to him, but it's causing a lot of problems. And they said, well, what should I do? People are still going to be paying rent on the apartments that they're not living in, and they have motorbikes and stuff of life here, and I don't know what to tell them. You might just have to abandon all that and start new. I don't know what else to say. These are the rules. Are you a Republican? No, I'm not. I'm not a Democrat either. I'm independent. Hi, Rojo. How are you keeping? SA has officially started a 21-day lockdown to help flatten the curve. How are things in Zhongshan? How are you? Just installed my basketball hoop too. Great. Work on that jump shot. I'm doing just fine, as always. My Z visa is going to expire on the 28th of May. It's done. Your Z visa is done. The Z visa, the way it works, that's an entry visa. Once you get into China, you have 30 days to convert it into a residence permit. So if you have a Z visa and you haven't actually come to China yet, your Z visa is void. So you can't come to China. You'll have to reapply for a Z visa, and when they allow visas to be reissued. So something to be said. Now for me, my Z visa was issued in 2015, and as soon as you enter it, they enter the country, they exit out. So it's no longer good for entry and exit. The residence permit is then updated every year, and mine is scheduled to be updated in just a few weeks. And because I'm still in China, that will be very easy for me to do. I have all my paperwork ready to go, and the college will be assisting me in that process. My passport will be in with the government for 2 to 3 weeks, and everything should be okay for another year. That's the plan. I have a colleague who did not come back to China, and he wants to stay another year, but because of this ban, it's unknown how he's going to be able to process his renewal of his residence permit, because he's got his passport with him in another country. So how that's going to work, I don't know yet. It's my guess that he will have to reapply for a new Z visa. Problem with that is most of his paperwork is here in his apartment in China. So he's going to have someone break into his apartment and FedEx all his paperwork to him in order to reapply for a Z visa when they start issuing them again. This just came out last night, so people are trying to figure out what to do, and there's different circumstances all over the place. Well, I just discovered I am libertarian too. Tuan, I knew you all along you were a libertarian. Cheers. Okay. So more information coming out on that soon. As far as schools starting again, some provinces have started schools, as I reported in the last live stream. Guangxi has restarted schools, and then they break it up. They break it up like second and third year, which is the second to last and last year of high school. Those students are gone back to school, but some primary school students are still away. The colleges are still not working or not in session. But it depends on the region. Here in Guangdong, the schools have not reopened, and there were some rumors going around that they had some dates for middle of April that they were going to open, and then they sent out this, which was basically saying, it says in Chinese, I got the translation here, that Guangdong determines when schools will return to, or when students will return to school. Provincial Department of Education, it is fake. So the Guangdong Provincial Government of Education has notified in advance that it is planned to implement the resumption of high school and junior high school graduating classes on April 7th, after the Qingming holiday, and April 21st to implement resumption of students except kindergartens and universities. This is not real. Recently, the news that Guangdong has determined the time for students to return to school among the parents, groups, and students, and a WeChat circle of friends is false. At present, the province's education system is doing its best to prevent the control of academic situation, resolutely prevent the epidemic from entering the campus, resolutely prevent cluster epidemics from situation of epidemic prevention and control. The Provincial Department of Education is carefully studying the work plan of students returning to school. They have meetings all the time. Excuse me. Fix this here. There we go. That's better. They have meetings all the time, but nothing ever comes out of the meetings from what I'm told. They will announce to the society to advance through the official website of the Provincial Department of Education and the official Weibo to ensure that schools, teachers, parents, and students have sufficient preparation time. So this is them combating social media rumors. Since March 2nd, the province has carried out online education in an all-round way. Okay. So my OBS lost connection. If you can see me, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Billy says I'm an independent and a realist. That's how I see myself. I just renewed my residence permit. It was super easy and fast. I think I was the only one processing in the city. I saw your video, and it looked crazy. I've never seen that office so empty before. Your opinion on Trump's handle of COVID-19 crisis? I don't want to talk about Trump and the handling of that. Look, the deal with all of that is I have said my piece. I have given my opinion. I'm tired of arguing with people and trying to change their opinion on these things. It's never going to happen. One of the things I've noticed about this is it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, conservative, liberal. Both sides are split as far as their opinions on how people are dealing with this stuff. So many conservatives are split on how they're dealing with it. Many liberals are split on how they're dealing with it. And it's caused a lot of tension within those groups. And I woke up the other day and said, look, I'm tired of arguing about this stuff. You all know my opinion. You don't need me to dispute it again. My opinion is out there for everyone to hear. If you can hear me, if I'm reconnected, I should be reconnected. Please give me a thumbs up, say hello, let me know. I'm going to continue on. All right, I'm going to continue on. The 127th Canton Fair will be postponed. I mentioned in the last one that they were still planning to go forward with this, but I'm... Hold on, let me... Where is he? Where is he? Am I still connected? Let's ask one of my friends. All right. The 127th Canton Fair will be postponed now. At a press conference, Ma Hua, the Deputy Director General of the Department of Commerce of Guangdong Province, indicated that the 127th China Import and Export Fair, the Canton Fair, will be held on April 15th due to the current global situation. As of midnight on March 22nd, Guangdong had reported 6 new imported cases, with 3 cases in Guangzhou, 2 cases from Foshan, and 1 case in Chaozhou, according to Zhao Zixiao, Deputy Director General Health Commission of the Guangdong Province. Okay, latest figures of COVID-19 cases. This is as of March 22nd. You look here. Here's my city. So you have like Guangzhou, Shenzhen. Okay. And confirmed cases with recoveries. Only 8 deaths in the entire province of 150 million people. So credit where credit is due. And here in Zhongshan, 68, 66 recoveries. The difference too were 2 imported cases from like a week ago. It was a Chinese national and her daughter that traveled. They identified them. As far as I know, they're still okay. But since the first day that they started tracking this, 68 cases in my city of 3.5 million, and this is what caused all the hubbub. Okay. Looks like my chat has been disabled, so I'm sorry if you cannot chat with me. Please, yeah, it looks like the chat's not working. So I apologize for that. You guys can chat on your own. I won't be able to answer your chat. I don't know why the chat is not working for me. But please put your comments at the end of the live stream. Any questions that you have, I'd love to answer them. So more things. This one's easy. This one's interesting. More data needed to prove COVID-19 harms male gonads. I saw this. A preliminary study by the Wuhan medical team found the first clinical evidence the novel corona infection could harm male gonad functions by significantly increasing sex hormones. This is very interesting. Something to keep in mind for all my buddies out there. Hopefully it's not a thing, unless you want it to be a thing, because it talks about could cause testicular damage and male infertility. Excuse me. Bird flu spread. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned I had to throw out my chicken because of an H1N1 outbreak in Hunan. I misspoke. It wasn't H1N1, it was like H5 or H5N1, I think it was. Yeah, so it's still going on. With the world's focus firmly on the coronavirus, it is easy to miss other developments and warnings emerging from the health sector. That's true. Everyone's talking about coronavirus. People stop talking about AIDS, starvation, the fires in Australia, the earthquake that happened in, I think it was Utah. Nobody's talking about anything else. It's all coronavirus, and all the other things and the things that people need are slowly being pushed under the carpet. The opioid epidemic in America has hit. I know people personally have been infected by this, and all of those meetings and all of those support mechanisms have been suspended. So you have all these users out there who have lost their support systems and are still using, and you spike in overdoses and deaths. The homelessness issue in Los Angeles is still an issue that nobody talks about. Tuberculosis, 4,500 people every day die of tuberculosis. Nobody talks about it. So even though everyone's talking about coronavirus and that's an important issue, don't make it the only thing. There's other things that you need to be aware of and put some resources towards. Yes, that includes the economy too. Okay, so countries, central provinces of Anhui, Henan, Hubei, and Hunan act as hubs for both live poultry trade and the flow of virus genomes, which researchers say may play a significant role in virus transmissions across the country. On February 1st, China reported an outbreak of the H5N1 bird flu. That's the one I mentioned in Hunan province, which is next to Hubei province, where the coronavirus outbreak was first reported. The outbreak on a farm in Xiaolan city led to the culling of 17,000 chickens by local authorities. A week later, a second outbreak was recorded in southwestern Sichuan province, which killed 1,800 chickens and saw an additional 2,200 culled. No human cases of H5N1 virus were reported in either outbreak. Outbreaks are very common. Outbreaks happen all the time. And not just in China. They happen everywhere. This was a funny one. I'm going to two more stories, and then I'll let you all go. Again, I don't have access to the chat. I'm sorry. But I'm sure I'll see what you all are saying at the end of this. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below after I post live stream live. Chinese man arrested for carrying 5 women on his bike. Now, when I first saw this, my original thought was respect. Because if it's hard enough to get one girl on an e-bike, this guy's got 5 girls on his e-bike. People from around the globe have been asked to practice social distancing in order to contain the spread of the coronavirus. In fact, the outbreak is so devastating that people are asked to stay home and move out only in case of emergency. And even when they walk out, people are asked to maintain a distance of at least 1 meter from each other. While some are following the norms quite rigorously, like the ones who stood in a queue outside a liquor shop in Kerala, 1 meter away from each other, a few others, like Bollywood singer Kanika Kapoor, are attending parties after returning from the coronavirus hit nation. That's just stupid. That is stupid. In another case, a Chinese man was booked for carrying 5 women on his electric scooter recently. Check that out. The video and pictures of the incident that show all 6 of them squeezing together on a scooter without wearing face masks have gone viral on social media. Now, if you have been to China, you've seen things like this. You see families of 3 and 4 all on a e-bike, kids in laps, and they all kind of squeeze on. That's a common sight here. But this is not common. See, 5 girls and 1 dude on an e-bike, The cops have, however, nabbed the man, and during the investigation, he confessed that he met the women in an ice cream shop, who then asked him to carry them on his scooter to collect some items. All 5 women who took a lift from the man have all been detained by the cops. It's definitely not a time to make a mockery out of social distancing by doing such stupid things, and it's the need of the hour that we start taking it seriously. Just an interesting story. It's not all doom and gloom. We can have some fun things here too. And last but not least, Taco Bell is opening again in South China. When I went to Shanghai, one of the first places I went to was Taco Bell. Now, I don't particularly like Taco Bell. It's not good Mexican food. It's not even good fast food. But if you're an American, you understand the importance of Taco Bell and where it is in our culture. If you've gone to a bar or gone to a nightclub and it's 2 a.m. and your head is ringing and you still have a lot of energy and you've been drinking all night, the first place you go to is Taco Bell. The drive-through at Taco Bell and in Southern California, Del Taco, after 2 a.m. is long. If I were a cop and I was looking for drunk drivers, I would post myself outside the drive-through of a Taco Bell and just pick them out randomly. So Taco Bell is our favorite late-night snack after a night of partying. And spotted a Taco Bell in the midst of construction at one of Shenzhen's main malls, Coco Park. It looks like the American fast food giant is about to get about to set up shop in Shenzhen. Now, Shenzhen's still a couple hours away from me, but if I'm ever in Shenzhen, you bet your ass I'm going to be taking a pilgrimage to the Taco Bell, just to it's like a reminder food. It reminds you of good times, you know. In 2015, Taco Bell announced its expansion plans to open 1,000 stores overseas by 2020. Enter 2020, and looks like Taco Bell is ready to take a chance on South China once again. Owned by Yum Brands. Yum Brands was based in my hometown of Irvine, and I actually have friends of mine who worked at the corporate offices of Yum Brands in various departments, some very close friends. And it's a very interesting company. But they're still Taco Bell is still based in my hometown, and yeah, it's part of my culture, I guess. Owned by Yum Brands, the Mexican-themed fast food chain. No, it's a Mexican theme because it's no one would ever say Taco Bell is real Mexican food. Opened 2 restaurants in Shanghai in 2003, followed by 2 more in Shenzhen. The version 1 Taco Bells were named Taco Bell Grande, which were viewed as more upscale than their North American counterparts as they served booze and an extended menu. Unfortunately, all 4 branches closed up shop in 2008. 8 years later, Taco Bell re-entered China and cemented itself in Shanghai with 7 locations across the major metropolis. The new locations offer beers on tap, modern decor, and endless delicious Mexi-fusion options. In Shenzhen, Mexican fare has grown in popularity throughout the years. Many prominent local establishments serve up badass burritos, tacos, and tipples. I don't. So, what are your thoughts? Will you make a pit stop at Taco Bell for your next trip to Shenzhen? Let your yuan do the talking, friends. Yeah, I'm gonna go definitely. Now, when I was in Shenzhen or Shanghai, I only knew of the one that was in the Pudong area. I didn't know of any other ones. And I did read some articles when I first came to China about Taco Bell Grande in Shenzhen. And I actually went to Shenzhen looking for the Taco Bell Grande, and they were gone. They weren't there. So this is fun news for me. There is no Mexican food here in Zhongshan. There is some good Mexican food in Guangdong and in Shenzhen already. But it is very hard to find a simple street taco. You have to make them yourself. So again, I'm sorry my chat got disabled. Sometimes when the YouTube disconnects, the chat gets disabled, and I don't know why. So that's what's going on here in Zhongshan. That's what's going on here with me. I have the afternoon off. I have some errands to run, but I'm thinking of just doing another drive around the town. I mean, it is Friday here. It's midday. And just to film what everyday life is like. It seems to me people are wondering what everyday life is like. So I'm thinking of just going to a mall and just getting a cup of coffee and walking around the mall. I'll film it and show you, okay, what's open, what's not, how things look in the regular city. I can film around my area, which is more of an industrial area, and then I can go into the center of the town, which, more commercialized, and show you what it's like. There are some neighborhoods I would love to go into, but the neighborhoods are still got roadblocks up. I drive down a street and there'll be a corrugated steel blocking me from going any further. Those blockades are still up. But other than that, I have a plan to visit another couple of parks, including one in Panyu that I'm going to be going to soon. And I got a day trip that I'm planning to Panyu that I think will be very interesting. I'm going to try to go to Lotus Hill, and I'm going to go to a flower plantation. That's not my choice, but sometimes we have to follow those who lead us, right? So that'll be Instagrammable, I'm sure. And then next week, I've got a couple of plans. We're going to do another hike. I have a reservation at a local hotel, a 5-star hotel that has been hit really hard. They have almost no. It's an international brand 5-star hotel, and they have almost no guests. They're in danger of closing down. This is one of the nicest hotels I have seen in all of Guangdong. It is maybe a year old. It is beautiful. and they're going to give me the VIP treatment. I'm going to get access to all the rooms, including presidential suite, and they're going to show me the back of the house and the kitchen. And but with the new ban on foreigners, it's geared towards foreigners who are coming into Zhongshan to do business. Right next to it are a bunch of furniture malls, furniture showroom malls, and they've just been killed, completely killed. It's in danger of closing down. But I want to get access. I know the manager there, and so look out for that in the next week. And things change by the day, things change by the hour, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you again for everybody's support. Their comments on my videos have been wonderful. I'm not getting the hate email that I was getting last week. It was really bad. So I got maybe 3 or 4 emails. It was 3.5. One email was kind of on the side, but I got 3 definite emails of people claiming that I was a bad person, and one of them wanted me to die, catch the coronavirus and die. Actually said that. Another one claimed that I wanted old people to die, and that's not the case, and it upsets me when I get those emails. I didn't get any of those emails this week, so thank you for recognizing that I am a human being. And yeah, if you want any other information or any ideas about videos here in China, because the China YouTube community here, we were talking today in a WeChat group, I think is more important than ever, because you're not going to have any tourists coming in. You're going to have less business people coming in, and you saw that they've actually not renewed the press credentials for many of these American outlets. I think it was 3 or 4 American newspapers that are being asked to leave China. So the YouTube community here, I think we should step up our game a little bit and bring us our truth about what we see and what's going on here. I don't want to get political. I want to stay apolitical. I know I have leanings sometimes. It's tough not to talk about these things, but that's not really why I started this channel. It's not the content that I want to bring to you. The content that I want to bring to you is the world through my eyes. And right now I live in China, which has very few independent eyes out on the country and on life in general here. And so I put it out to a bunch of YouTubers here that we have an additional role to play now. And I hope that we can bring objective honesty to life in China over the next couple of months, because I think this ban will go on for a couple of months, if not longer, and show the world that what's really going on. Because if you look at it through the different lenses of different media outlets, you're going to get a very warped perception. If you look at it from an English teacher vlogger like me, you might get a little bit different perception than what you get from Fox News, CNN, or any other media outlet around the world. So thank you all again for your support. Stay in touch, and we'll talk to you on the next stream. Take care.